Hello and welcome to my review of the Japanese PlayStation 3 game Suzumiya Haruhi no Tsuisou. This is a game that goes along with the movie, the disappearance of Suzumiya Haruhi. I believe it was Suzuharumi no Shoshitsu, I think. And that came out in early 2010. So that was around 2 years ago now. It's late 2011 when I'm making this video. And this game came out in, I guess it was May of this year. So I've been playing it on and off since it came out. I didn't dive right into it right away like I was expecting. But I've sort of picked away at it over the past few months, and I'm not done with it. So this is kind of a preview review, but I've captured a lot of footage, and I've played quite a bit, so I have some impressions that I'd like to share with you today. So we're starting here with the prologue, and the first thing you're going to run into is Mikuru here. You've got the adult Mikuru, and she is really going on at length. They have this really long sequence with her here, and it isn't really the best way to kind of get you interested and excited about this game. But essentially, I was a little frustrated because I didn't understand everything she was talking about. But once I started playing the game, it really wasn't that hard to figure out. And all of the exposition that's happening here is pretty much related to shoehorning the video game system, where you essentially play the same day over and over again into the Suzumiya Haruhi universe, where it's this whole time travel thing, and like really game mechanic-y things. They're having, they're trying to fit it into Mikuru's time travel ability, and you're setting in a dimensional bookmark and all this stuff. It's really, it's kind of funny actually the way they do it. But you can also see the character models, which are kind of cool. They're all 3D. Really, I think White Album's system was a little better, just because those, those designs they're just so beautiful, and they're really high res, but they're essentially 2D with some kind of animation effects. These are full 3D, and they can look a little weird when they move, but I think they're pretty cool. So this is something that you're gonna be seeing a lot. This is kind of your main interface for interacting with the game and sort of with the day that you go through. So it's kind of time-based. So you can see we're here at 12 o'clock, and you have these different columns, which are different venues. So like that first one is like you're basically at a culture festival. So the first one are kind of the market stalls that are set up. Oh, and as you move over this calendar, you can collect these stamps for the stamp rally. I guess I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But so this second column is the main building, and then the next column is maybe like a middle building or interior building. Then you've got the sub-stage and the main stage. So in each of these venues, during the course of this culture festival, there's different things going on. You can see them listed here, the things that are going on at noon, and you just pick the one that you want to do, and you do it. So like this one is English. There's some sort of English presentation at the main stage, but we're going to go to the stalls outside and see what they're selling. And here we get abducted by Haruhi. So this is actually a scene that I'm not going to spoil for you. I don't know if I'm going to do very good at avoiding spoilers during this review, because you kind of have to spoil a little bit just to know what's going on in the game. But I'd recommend watching the movie before you play the game. And this game, I think it does a pretty good job of not just following the movie. It's set after the movie, but it kind of replicates the situation that you were in the movie. So you do kind of end up, sort of reproducing some of the similar kinds of things, similar challenges that Kyon had to face the first time around. But here, Haruhi, you're talking with Haruhi and Koizumi, and you get this item. So this is obviously a suit. She's like, oh, what about this? This is good. He's like, who's gonna wear it? He's like, well, you, of course. It's like, well, leave that to me. Here, I'll just borrow this for a minute. So in this game, at a certain point, Haruhi refuses to believe that you're John Smith, and the only reality that she will accept is that you must be, in cahoots with John Smith. So she wants to talk to him, and this is her idea. Like, help me, John Smith. It's like, if John Smith doesn't hurry up, Haruhi's gonna be in trouble. It's like, haha, what do you think of this, John Smith? So he's like assaulting Haruhi in public in this bunny suit, and of course some girls walking by are like, well, what should we do? We should call a teacher. And he's like, wait. She's like, yeah, make a big ruckus, and this is a a big incident. They're trying to get John Smith's attention. It's like, why did you stop? This was our big chance. It's like, you're gonna turn me into a criminal. So that's kind of a fun scene. And here we see we've got these two choices. These are actually two items. So kind of like in the Ori no Imoto ga Kono ni Kawaii Wake ga Nai game on the PSP, you kind of get items, and then you can choose one item or another, and it will determine how the story branches, but it's a pretty different system from that. That item that I chose, which I think was Haruhi's cell phone number, so I could send her a text message, was a very hard one, so it's a little different system. But so we're going into our menu now, and this is the hint mail. So if you get stuck, like I was saying, it's a little tough. You can see what Mikuru says. She says, it's like, what kind of items do you have? She's like, there's a really important, seems like a really important item, you can't use after this. When you meet Suzumiya around then, maybe there's like an event, like a branching event that happens. So she's really giving you some advice as to what you could do. And so there's pamphlet is that P, and the I is an item list, and S is, I think, system to save is your main menu there. So here we are. This is kind of at the beginning of the game, and for those of you who have seen the movie, and I guess if you don't want any spoilers, maybe you want to skip ahead a little bit, but I'm just going to lay out the very beginnings of the game here. So Kyon wakes up, and basically everything is different. He's still, school is still kind of the same, but Haruhi's gone. Koizumi's gone, Mikuru doesn't know him, Nagato is not an alien, she's just a regular girl, so you run into her here, and in the game it basically starts off the same way that the movie does, where, but after the end of the movie, so this whole scenario's kind of happened again, and you need to kind of deal with this situation and figure out what's going on. So, this is going to be an introduction of the conversation system that they have in this game, and it's relatively straightforward. Let's take a look at it here. So, we've got 3 topics of conversation right now. So in the first topic of conversation, you can see there's a few choices, and the other ones are, we can't choose those. So we have these 3 choices that we can do here. It's like, hey, Nagato, or Anyway, so we'll skip ahead a little bit here. So depending on what you talk with her about, you're going to unlock these other topics of conversation, and then you're going to be able to talk about more stuff. So, this is important at some points for branching the story, other points not. But if you run into a spot where the conversation is going to branch the story, you might have to be really specific about that conversation. So it can be a little tricky. So that's a time when those emails, the hint mails, can be pretty helpful. It's kind of nice that those are in there. So this is what you'll see at the end of your 2 days if you didn't, do the right things to move on. So she says, there wasn't a big enough change in the STC data. She's like, but that's okay because we can do it over again. So you can actually look here. This is the bookmark, the interdimensional bookmark menu, and this is showing us the route that we have taken in the game, and you can see the open presents are the items we've unlocked, and that big mark is the bookmark that we're going to go back to, so that we can try this over again. And that's the ending that we got, which is kind of a dead end. And from here again, we're going to go back here and just show you how those closed presents are ones we haven't gotten yet. But this is the bookmark that we've moved. So now we've moved that to a place, and that's really just so that we can replay that and not have to replay so much of the game. So here's the extras. So this is kind of cool. We've got replay your scenes. You've got music player, a scene player here. I think the other one was more like movies. Here's an ending list, and then this is a game of Breakout, and we'll come back to this, but it's pretty cool. It's a game of Breakout with the Haruhi characters, and this is Endless Fight. So this is pretty cool. I haven't tried this out. It looks, like they're kind of making a Final Fantasy reference, sort of an old school RPG. And then there's this thing, which is like Yuki no 365 Nchi. So this is really weird. It seems like a clock. It says toy clock, Yuki no 365 Nchi. So here, this is the clock settings, and you can change all these settings about the clock. And there's also this this stamp exchange. So I'm assuming that that's like the stamp rally that you're doing in the main game. You come in here, and these are your stamps, and like you can exchange them for maybe stuff in this little application. Haven't messed around with it that much, but it seems kind of cool. Here, she really just read off the time to us, and it sounded like she said actually 11:52, just turned to 53, but rather than 17:53, or I guess that would be, I think it's 5:53. So I don't know. I probably just didn't set the clock right. And here's the Breakout game. So this is a little voyeuristic, but it's all good fun. This is this game is rated 12 and up, so we're not gonna get anything indecent here. But you play a game of Breakout and sort of break the clothes off of the girls from Haruhi over time here, and they all end up in like a bikini top and bottom. Of course, you can hear Mikuru, crying when her clothes get taken off. So there's that. So this game is pretty cool so far. I'm holding off judgment. I've enjoyed some things about it. Some things about it I think maybe aren't as good as some other games I've played recently in this vein, like the Oremo game, for instance, in particular. But it's a little hard to tell. At first I was pretty worried that they hadn't put a lot of work into this game, and maybe just like, well, it's Haruhi fans and it's popular, and just sort of cranked something out. And just judging from the extras, I mean, Game of Breakout is like whatever, but it's fun. And that little Final Fantasy looking thing and the weird clock application and stuff, they put some effort into that, and I think it's neat that there's those little games kind of on top of this game. And I've only played through probably 20% of the game, and at first I was really worried because I thought the game was going to end at the first chapter, and then I realized that it was like only the first chapter of like, I don't know, 8 or 10 chapters or something like that. There's a bunch. So I'm looking forward to playing some more of this game, and I'll have a little bit more for people here. But I hope that this preview was helpful, and I hope that you'll join me again for some more Haruhi information. Thanks for watching.
Suzumiya Haruhi no Tsuisou.